Hi everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk, and thank you very much for joining me today. This is what I've been making today. It is a little, I don't know, what would you call that, fancy treat bag, set, you know, for Halloween. Now, I made one very similar to this earlier in the year. That one had 5 panels, this one has 6. And it was based on the work of another Stampin' Up demonstrator, and right now I can't remember her name, but I will put it in the description box below because I thought it was just so pretty. So yeah, so I've resized it a little bit, 6 flaps instead of 5. Stay with me, show you how I made it. To make the bag, I used Toil and Trouble Designer Series paper, and I cut it to 9.5 inches by 6 inches. I have a scrap of silver foil and a piece of the black foil. I used Memento ink and a scrap of Whisper White for stamping on, and I stamped using my Spooky Sweets stamps. Used some punches as well. I have a 1 3/8 inch circle punch, my I think this is Pretty Label punch, and my Spooky Bats, and I also used some of this absolutely gorgeous glittered organdy ribbon. My paper's cut at 9.5 inches by 6, and I'm going to start on the short side and I'm going to score it at 1 1/4 inches, spin it round, and at 3/4 inch. And now I'm going to score at 1.5 inches, 3 inches, 4.5 inches, 6 inches, 7.5 inches, and 9 inches. And I'm using the thicker end of my my ball tool because I'm working on paper. Alright, so now I'm going to turn my paper over to the wrong side, and I'm going to draw in some lines here so that you can see what I'm doing. So this is my 1 1/4 inch line. So hopefully my white pen will play ball. This is going to be the inside of the bag, so nobody's going to see it, and you won't you won't need to see it either. And I'm going to fold up this end, and I'm going to measure up from my white line 3/4 inch. So there's 1, 2, 3, that's 4. And I'm going to draw a line along there. Okay, with me so far? Okay. Right, so I folded that bit so that it's out of the way, because now I want to score halfway between these fold lines down as far as this line. So 1/2 inches is 3/4 inch. I'm going to fold that right the way over so I'm up against the edge here. And now you see, so I want to be 2 1/4 inches, and at 3 3/4 inch, 5 1/4. Right, yes it is, 5 1/4, and 6 3/4, and 8 1/4. Okay, it's very important that you turn that bit over, otherwise your lines will be in the wrong place. So now I don't need my board, but what I do have is my squishy mat, and with my white pen. Okay, so again, let me draw this in so that you can see it. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to join that corner to that point. And same thing here. Okay, and then I'm going to work my way along my piece of paper, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to come back and I'm going to join that point to that point. Okay, so I hope this is making sense, and I will put a diagram. I put a diagram up for you to have a look at. So while you're looking at that, I am going to go ahead and with my ruler I'm going to start joining all of those points together. And bone folder time. So we'll do the all the way down the folds first. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip up into these bottom flaps. And on this last piece I'm just going to snip this little piece away here because I don't need it. Okay, so now I'm going to come back and I'm going to make these diagonal folds here. So that is going to be a mounting fold when I'm looking at the right side of the paper, and those are also mounting folds, so I get that sort of shape. So that's a valley fold, and this is a mounting fold. And I'm just doing these with my fingers to begin with, just to get the shape in there. But I can come back a little bit later on with my bone folder and make these nice and crisp. So what I'm doing, I'm folding along that mounting fold that I just made, and then I'm just bringing these folds just over and just sharpening them off. And that way I get a nice crisp fold. I'm going to punch the holes for the ribbon while the box is still flat, or the bag is still flat. So I'm just folding over my top piece. Now I could have it that way, but I've decided that on this bag I want to keep to the black and white. So I'm going to fold it to the inside of my treat bag. I've got my handheld 3/16 of an inch punch here, and I'm just going to start by punching a space where I want. Oh, I've got a very nice little star there. Alright, so now to make sure everything is even, all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to punch through the same hole that I just punched, and then backwards, and same again. I'm just going to work my way around the bag, punching all the holes for the ribbon. Now I could have done that when the bag was already assembled, but it's a lot easier to do it while it's still in the flat state. So I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape along here. So my sentiment is mounted up on my clear block, and I'm just going to ink it up with my Memento Tuxedo Black. Lots of light tapping. And I'm just going to stamp that down in the corner of this piece of Whisper White. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the ink to transfer. And that's done beautifully. I have a 1 3/8 of an inch circle punch, and I'm just going to punch this out. And my pretty label punch and some silver foil. I'm going to punch it that way because I don't. Okay, so now that is going to fit on to that with some dimensionals, which are over here. Here we go. And I'm going to punch a hole at the top, or what's going to be the top of my tag. And remember to do that before I go any further. I've got a scrap of black foil, and as you can see I've been playing with it already. So I've got my spooky bats, and I'm going to punch out 3 of those. I'm going to do it down on the table because experience tells me that these bats like to fly about the place. So now I'm going to pop some mini dimensionals onto the back of these. So let's have a bat flying there, and this one coming in here, and my third little bat I will put, I'm going to stick him on just with a little bit of liquid adhesive on his wing, just there. Okay, I'm not going to pop him up at all. So let's just pop him into place. Okay. Okay. This is the glittered organdy ribbon, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to begin threading it through the holes that I made. I'm keeping it onto the reel at the moment because that'll make it so that I can just cut off just as much as I need and not waste any. And this is so glorious, I don't want to waste any. So I'm using my tweezers to help me thread. Pop that the right way out. Can you see how this now is coming together? Come on. Okay. Right, now before I get to the last piece, I'm going to chop that away. I'm going to bring in my tag, and I'm going to thread that through the tag. keeping my bat's wings out of the ribbon. To tie a neat bow and to get this sitting where I want it to, I'm going to bring this piece of ribbon underneath that piece, and then I'm going to tie the two of them together in a knot. Okay. I'm going to arrange where I want my bow, like that. Okay, so this one you're going to need to make sure you get your treats in before you tie it up, if you're going to do this, and then on top of the knot I can now build my bow. Going to trim that to the size that I want. A bit of bow wrangling here. That's better. And trim away the extra bits. So that's my little treat pouch, and I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. 3, 2, 1. And there it is, that is the finished item. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if so, please don't forget to hit that like button and come back and see me again sometime soon. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, and yeah, come back soon, okay? Bye bye.